Yo, what's up? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to the Powercast episode 21. And we will be discussing Power Season 4, Episode 10, the finale. And today I'm joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How you doing, Richard?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners?
Yep, good to have you back. And we're also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How you doing, Dana?
Dana's awesome.
Awesome indeed. So yeah, the finale happened, and it's a pretty interesting episode. I have a lot of thoughts on it, good and bad. But yeah, I'm not gonna give the recap like usual. It's really fresh in our minds, so I'm just gonna get straight to the discussion and everything. So the first thing I wanted to touch on with you guys, right, is the reactions to Rayna's death. So we know that in episode 9, Rayna was killed, by Ray. And in this episode, we see some sort of reaction from Jamie and Tasha at the beginning. But I want to say that to me, the reaction to the death seemed very forced, and it didn't seem very genuine. This show has good actors. They've been capable of, having great scenes in the past, but I feel like, maybe they were rushed or something, but I didn't get the feeling that they were mourning the loss of their child. So Dana, what's your thoughts on how they reacted initially to Rayna's death in this episode?
Trash. I'm sorry. It's just, it was so generic, and just everything felt so feiny and feiny. I said feiny. It felt phony and phoned in. So my issue was just that because they wasn't attached to like their emotions, and because they wasn't fully into the scene, I didn't feel that Rayna's death was really that important, because it was just so terribly orchestrated. I thought in my head that this would be one of those moments where like they come together as a family, right? Or even if they're not fully together right now as a family, they would at least come together with some form of understanding, that form of support. Now, I understand when you grieve, it takes different reactions and people have different responses to it. You can range from being extremely crying and upset, and I wasn't necessarily expecting anyone to be, crying all over the place or all the way all upset. But I did want some form of passion, even if it was extreme anger. And I felt that I didn't even receive that. And I think that this was kind of foreshadowed when Tariq witnessed Rayna's dying, because even his reaction seemed like meh. That I don't know if that was the direction of the whole show, if that they was going through, or if that everything was just, even if you have a season that is rushed, you at least know what you're supposed to do in that scene to convey some form of an emotion. And my problem was that there was nothing that was conveyed. So because they didn't care, I really didn't seem to care at all.
Yeah, I can agree with that for the most part. And there's even like a scene where, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but there was a part where Jamie was like, he was pretty much like, oh damn, we've lost Rayna, but now we've got to look after these other kids, like, just kind of dismissing it and like just focusing on the other kids, like, oh okay, she's gone, so let's focus on these kids that we have left, kind of thing. Like it was really weird, like it was really awkward. And
that's an honest reaction, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily come right away. You know what I mean? When you're grieving the loss of your child, and yes, you do have other children, you're still going to feel that pain. And it may take you a while to even get out of bed to focus on those other children. And even if you have that two-parent home where you have that one parent that's just completely, besides themselves, you're going to have that other parent be like, I still have other kids that need to be raised. And I understand what you're going through right now, so I'm going to, be the burden. I'm going to bear the load for you.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that that sentiment would come, but not at this moment when it's, you know, so fresh in their minds, when it's just happened, you know. And yeah, like I think a lot of the issues are down to, you know, I don't want to make this, you know, a debate about, you know, the number of episodes again, but I feel like there was a lot of time constraints, and I feel like that's why, you know, we didn't get a lot of you know, the good acting and the grieving and everything. But Richard, what's your thoughts on you know, the reactions to Rayna's death in this episode?
Well, at this point, I pretty much agree with everything that you both said. I believe that last week when I was talking about the character, I mentioned that I feel as though the character didn't really, you know, it didn't really feel like it was an important character. Obviously, the character was important to Tariq's development overall this season, and we saw how he had his back and forth with her. But when it came to the actual death and the reaction, yeah, there was no reaction. So yeah, to see the parents now have, you know, the way that they portrayed them in the light after this happened, it's like I didn't think it was a good job either. And the thing about it is that, like Dana already said, it is very consistent with the fact that no one really cared too much about the character, because you see how the parents react, and it's like, oh well, there wasn't really. I mean, there was some emotion, I guess you could say, but not really the type of emotion that you think would be underlined. But there is something that does happen later in the episode that when we get into that discussion, which I will dive into and give more insight into pretty much how they are doing as parents. But I don't think there was really too many people that cared about the reaction. Now, we did see Tommy, and we know Tommy is someone who likes violence. And as soon as he heard, he was ready to kill the guy immediately. I would say, if I could be very honest, the person who had the most emotion towards the death this whole episode, in my opinion, is Tommy, because when he found out about the news, he was the one that was gun ho trying to go after the guy. We saw Ghost, you know, yeah, they killed the other guy thinking that he was behind it, part of the gang, but obviously after that, I didn't see Ghost until at that point when Tariq had already met up with Ray and was ready to shoot him. So I felt, but Tommy, you saw him, you know, he tracked down who did it, found out who did it, and he actually took more of an initiative by doing that versus Ghost, because Ghost was like, well, that wasn't the guy. But Tommy was the one who actually, you know, if Ghost is a father that cares, he would be trying harder to find out who killed my daughter. But he just says after he found out it wasn't the guy in the gang, it's like, I didn't see him anymore for the episode. I'm like, that didn't make any kind of sense. But yeah, Tommy definitely showed a lot more emotion wanting to get the guys. So I think he definitely deserves more of that praise versus the actual parents themselves.
Yeah, I'll even go one further and say that, you know, I agree with you. Tommy showed, you know, more you know, genuine mourning for Rayna, and I also think that Angela's reaction was more convincing as well, like the way she reacted when, you know, she heard about Rayna being killed. You know, I found, you know, that scene to be more convincing than Jamie's emotion. And you know, the Amari, he's a good actor, but like I don't know what happened in this episode. Like it wasn't convincing at all. Like I didn't feel like he was actually upset about his daughter's death. But speaking of Angela, so you know, she learns about, you know, Rayna being killed and everything, and you know, she goes into detective mode, and you know, she even pulls up on Ray at one point. And you know, so what do you guys think is going to be Angela's role moving forward now? Because now we also have this witness being introduced by Sax, you know, and everything. So like, what do you think Angela's role is going to be in this whole thing moving forward? Because, you know, now they have a crime, like we know what happens later on. They have a crime scene and everything like that. So what's Angela's role going to be, do you think? Go ahead, Dana.
I'm gonna say what I said before. This is gonna be her road to redemption. This is gonna be her. I apologize for everything that I've done, even though it doesn't change anything in the past or probably in the future. But at least for the moment, I can have a clear conscience. So I think that her role moving on is going to be probably something of great importance. And while I don't know how they plan on, filming it and how she'll be seen, in the episodes coming, but I see her in the background, from always having that eye on Ghost to make sure that everything kind of is okay. And her being so involved with Rayna's death, I even felt that I got more of a motherly response from her than I did from Tasha.
Yep.
So I see her being a pivotal role as, like, one of those, I'm always looking out for you. I'm going to look over you. I'm going to be right there over your shoulder, making sure everything is okay. I see her as in that role.
Yep. So, Rich, is this Angela's road to redemption?
I think that's a good way to look at it. But I also think that Angela is going to be very conflicted moving forward now because, you got the situation, obviously, with Jamie and the witness. We will see what happens with that next season. But you also have the situation with Tasha, because Tasha actually came to her to find out who is this guy, where's Tariq's phone. And lo and behold, when they find out later that the guy was killed, that there was a bullet fired, and obviously that bullet can be traced back to Tasha's gun, which Tariq used. So I think Angela's going to be in a very complicated situation once again, having to go after the St. Patrick's, this time Tasha and Jamie. And yeah, she will have some redemption, as Dana said, but I also think it goes back to what Jamie said in the last episode when he made that comment about, hey, it looks like I was able to help you get to where you were at, and you helped me also. So once again, this is a situation where he is going to help her, become even better at her job, because eventually she's going to try to take him down and Tasha, and may be successful. So it's very ironic, but I think that's why that line was put in there in the first place, just to remind people that, yes, these two are forever tied together, and because of one is on the good side of the law and the other one's on the bad side, it means that they're always going to cross paths because of their past. So we'll see what happens. But I'm very curious to see what they do with Angela's character now. But it's going to be a lot of conflicts with the St. Patrick's, and she's going to have to make some decisions, some very tough decisions, I think, next season, if she wants to pursue taking down either one of them.
But call me crazy, but I don't think that she's going to end up going after Tasha. I don't. I see her as probably protecting her.
That's possible, yeah, because she also did have a relationship with Rayna.
Yeah.
So that is a very good point. She very well could protect her. Of course, this may be a situation like it was with this season, where there were people that were on her team that wanted to take St. Patrick down. And then when she found out he's innocent, she wanted to fight against that. So I'm curious to see how they're going to present this dynamic now, because Tasha is preparing for the worst. Why she has Terry now as a lawyer instead of a lover. We'll get into that later, because I think there's going to be some conflicts with that also. But we'll see what happens. I mean, but yeah, you make a good point. She may want to protect her. But in the case of Ghost, it's going to be very hard with that witness saying, "Oh, this is what he did." I mean, it's just, we have to see how they handle that. But it's going to be very interesting for next season.
Yeah, it's very interesting they brought back that character, that witness from like the first season, because I kind of forgot. I had to go back and see who that was and stuff. So it's interesting that after all that time they bring that back, and I feel like there's a lot of things that happened in this season 4, that's gonna come back in the future, because Tommy caught some bodies in this season, like he was killing people left and right. So I think a lot of stuff is going to come back later on in the show. But getting back to what happened in this episode, though. So, on the road to vengeance, to avenge Rayna's death, we see Tommy and Jamie go to the Toro Loco spot, and They kill everyone there. And of course, you know, they get the guy to confess that he killed Julio on Dre's orders and everything, but he says that he had no parts of killing, you know, Jamie's daughter, and then Jamie still kills him and everything. So at that point, they know that, you know, they got it wrong and somebody else is responsible for Rayna's death. And then, you know, like you said, Rich, Tommy's the one that does a lot of the legwork to find out what's going on. And obviously he gets, you know, he gets assisted by Kanan, who calls him and lets him know about, you know, Ray Ray and everything. And then, you know, he goes to see Destiny and, you know, he learns a lot more information that way as well. And then later on in the show, we see Tariq, you know, go out and you know, he kind of wants to fix his mistake because, you know, he caused all of this. And, you know, he goes to Dre to get information. And then somehow everybody ends up at, you know, Ray Ray's place. And then, you know, Tariq is the one to take out Ray Ray. So what I want to ask you guys is, did you expect Dre to be the one to kill Ray Ray? And what do you feel about, you know, Dre being the one to actually get the kill here? Go ahead, Dana.
No, I didn't. I didn't like the fact that he did it at all. I think it cheated the audience. The audience wanted the satisfaction of having Jamie do it, or even at the end of the day, maybe Tariq doing it. But I think that it completely robbed the audience. It came completely unexpected.
Wait, Tariq or Tommy?
I'm sorry, Tommy. Wait, what?
Wait a second, Gary. Wait, hold on a second, Gary. You said Dre. Dre did the kill when it was Tariq, so that's why she was confused.
Oh, yeah. My bad. I meant, you know,
yes, continue.
I meant Tariq.
I mean, Tariq and Dre are two different of the people. No. I felt that, well, I like the fact that he, like, I like the fact that he killed him, but I just think that all of a sudden that it took a death of his sister for him to act big and hard. But I would like to see how this is going in the next season. If this will change him, because, you know, once you kill someone, it changes you. So I would like to find out how much it'll end up changing him. But on maybe a positive, I hate to say this is a positive note, I think this brings him one step closer to being Ghost. Little Ghost Jr.
Do you think that's where they're going with it? You know, making the next Ghost?
Being Ghost Jr. You know, in Power could just end up being how, you know, the changing of the guards, the changing of everything would be the son now. So yeah, I think we have to start paying attention to Dre. Not Dre, to and seeing what happens. It could be interesting, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was the satisfaction that we needed, but it just wasn't. Everything was just so meh. It was just performed so meh. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait to see. But I was somewhat satisfied.
Yeah, and what kind of bugged me a little as well is that the actual death happened off screen. Like, we didn't actually see, you know, when he shot him. Like, we just saw, you know, Ray Ray was laid out on the floor. But Rich, what did you think of Tariq getting the kill on Ray Ray?
Well, first and foremost, let me just say you took the words right out of my mouth. The fact that we didn't see the kill happen, and we've seen so many people get killed up close this season, that leads me to believe that, yeah, you know, to Dana's point, you know, we could be beginning to see the start of Ghost Jr., but I think that Tariq is going to struggle with that because of the fact that they showed it off camera. And you saw that he was very hesitant to do the kill when Ray Ray called him out and said that he wasn't going to do it. So I think that, you know, he's definitely going to have some struggles moving forward, dealing with the aftermath of everything that took place. I will say this, I don't really like how they handled the character this season, because a lot of people did say they want the character to die, and because he caused so many issues, you know, you caused your sister to get killed, so many things. The other innocent lady that got robbed, they tried to rape, and then she got shot in the head. So the character definitely, I don't like the way he was handled this season. I did find it funny because I did read an interview that that Courtney Kemp had, and she was basically saying that she was surprised by the reaction that the character got all season long. Why people did I want this character to die, and she reminded people again, he is an adolescent, so obviously he's going through this stuff. Which again, I believe Dana also made the same point. Yes, he is an adolescent, but you know, I just think some of the decisions he made were very ridiculous and very, very ruthless and reckless. So I'll be very curious to see what happens next season, how he is handled as a response of the reaction, because a lot of people still don't like the character. But I will say that the fact that he got the kill, I wasn't satisfied with that either. Yes, he took responsibility for the fact that he got his sister killed, which is great. But yeah, we didn't see it. We didn't see him actually do the kill, as you said, Gary. And I just felt like at the end of the day, it's just like, I guess he got a little bit of redemption, but it would have been better to see someone else take him out. But I guess they just did what they had to do. But again, I guess the whole story next season is going to be with that character. How does he deal with the aftermath of everything, and whether or not he is a true ghost or not? Because again, the fact that he was hesitant to do the kill in that little bit of footage that they did show shows you, okay, well, he's not 100% sure yet who he is. So we'll see where they go from here.
Can I interject something, please?
Yes.
Tariq, at the end of the day, isn't a sociopath, which, you know, generally are the traits of people who enjoy killing and can actually man up and kill someone. So I wasn't too bothered with the fact that he was hesitant, nor was I bothered about the fact that it wasn't on screen. I think that it reflected the shift and the change in the doubt that he had when it came to killing somebody. And so he did it off screen by making it a very personal decision. This wasn't just some random kill because, you know, I joined the gang and this is my street order, or, you know, this guy said something mean to me in the hallway. It was this guy, Ray, took his sister away from him. And yes, throughout the season, we did see them fight, and we all wanted for his behind to be beaten. Yes, at the end of the day, he still deserves a butt whooping, but that was a relationship that those two shared. And it was a bond that was very personal between those two, even if they wasn't close at that moment. So I didn't exactly mind that it was off screen. And I don't mind the fact that he's hesitant. Because, you know, he is a regular kid, not a sociopath. So I like that decision.
Yeah. Even like that, there's still a few things that irk me about this scene. Like, I think there's a few logic flaws in this scene. Because, you know, you have obviously Tariq kills Ray. And then, you know, Jamie and Tommy turn up and they start, you know, cleaning up the body, getting rid of the body and everything. And we hear sirens. So we assume that they don't have time to clean up the blood that, you know, the police later finds there. And obviously the bullet, you know, that went through into the wall and everything. They don't have time to get rid of all that stuff because we're already hearing sirens. But what the hell did they do with that body in the rug when there were sirens already? You know, you could already hear the sirens in the neighborhood pretty much. So like, how could they have hid that body when police was basically like right around the corner, it sounded like. And also Angela knew exactly what was going down. And, you know, okay, so you can make the argument that, you know, she cares about Jamie and she cares about Rayna. So maybe she just, you know, she turned the other cheek. She didn't, you know, do anything. She didn't try to interject or anything, but she just got promoted. And this is, you know, having knowledge of this murder about to take place potentially like that. This is something that can really come back to haunt her. So I don't know if she acted in the right way, you know, knowing that something like this was going down. So yeah, there's a few logical things, you know, regarding this scene that doesn't completely sit right with me. But go ahead, Rich.
No, I agree with the point you made. One thing I also wanted to say very quickly, and obviously we will talk about, I'm sure, Tasha, but I just want to say this. For the parents, I have to say, Ghost and Tasha, they have to be some of the most horrible parents on this planet, because even once they knew that Tariq was lying, you know, in that moment, in that reaction, there was never no conversations, nothing. And once they saw him at the scene he killed, obviously in the moment with the shock and everything, it's fine. But there was never any discussion about, well, you lied to us. Why weren't you honest with us? You know, the parents should be able to have these conversations with the kid, because I know in real life, if that was me and I was caught in a lie, oh, you best believe my parents would have, you know, they would have had me by the neck. Talk about, what are you doing here? You know, yes, you okay? You okay? Fine. Yeah, okay, I'm okay. Then I would get my ass whooped right after that. So I don't understand with the parenting, the way that they portray that in the show. It's not really, it doesn't put them in light as good parents at all. You know, you let your kids run off and do whatever because you have one guy who's thinking about, well, I really like this other chick over here. I want to smash that chick. That's all I want to do. Then you have the wife who is also off in her own world doing her own thing. So I don't like how they portray the parents. It's bad parenting. But
yeah, in this season they did no parenting whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's all I was going to say. Yeah, she did give him good. She did give Tariq good advice at the end after the kill. I want you to clean up. I want you to do this. So yeah, that was good advice right there. But man, I don't really like that. But again,
but doesn't it more satisfying that it was Tariq who did the killing and not, say, Jamie?
I don't.
I would have wanted Jamie to do it, to be honest. But that's just
not the father. So it's like all of a sudden you want to kill the guy who killed your son, but meanwhile you could have prevented. I mean, your daughter. But meanwhile you could have prevented this entire thing if you would have just been a father to your kids and been present.
Yeah. Well, I think the way that they have portrayed Tariq all season, and the fact that there are a lot of people that don't like the character. I know that this kill was done to try and redeem the character, to make people be like, okay, yeah, so he made up for what he did wrong. I still have issues with the character, though. I'm pretty sure a lot of people still have issues with the character after this episode. But yeah, glad that he redeemed his sister's death. But again, we'll see what happens with him next season, because he's going to have to go through some more changes now. And I really do believe, as I said already, that death was put in there. As you said, Dana, yes, it was a personal death, but I feel that death was put in there and not shown because they want you to think about, well, what's going to happen to this character next season? Is he going to become Ghost, or is he going to just get back to becoming normal? But I think after you're involved with something like that, there's no way you can ever become normal again. Unless, of course, you like to do that stuff like Tommy, and you just like to kill people and then go out and party and so on and so forth the next day. You know, I don't know. But
Tommy's a sociopath.
yes. Yes, he is. So we'll see. But yeah, that's going to be his story next season. What happens to this character? Is he Ghost Jr. or is he not? That's the question mark that they want to leave people guessing in terms of how they handle him next season. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, I mean, of course, you know, we're gonna get to what happens towards the end of the show with, you know, the team up and everything. But before we get there, we have to talk about Dre. Now, there's, you know, Dre he's definitely an interesting character in the show right now. And you know, now he's in that position of power. There's still a few questions to be raised about his character, but we do see him make a bold move in this episode where he kills, I believe, is his name Callahan, the father?
Yeah, I believe it's that.
The dude. Yeah, Callahan. So, yeah, Callahan, you know, he learns from Tommy that, you know, Dre had Julio killed and everything. And then, you know, Callahan was actually a fool too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he was an idiot for, like, you know, going to Dre and like saying all that stuff to him, like about him killing Julio and stuff. But, you know, Dre makes the bold move of killing him right there on the bench, you know, stabbing him and everything. So, you know, is this the moment where we see Dre become truly aggressive and, you know, come into himself a little bit as the dominant force now in the drug game. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, well, I think this whole season has been about building up Dre. You know, at the end of last season, you saw him take over the club for Jamie, and, you know, try to strengthen those relationships that Jamie had already established, well, with the Bassetts, so on and so forth. So this season, you know, and it's funny because you thought at the end of the season, well, Dre is obviously somebody is still in Jamie's corner, still out to help him out, and was appreciative of the fact that he let him run that club. But as this season started to happen, and you saw over the episodes that he was slowly building up to really become, you know, he came into himself, became arrogant, says, you know, I have all this power, I can do all this other stuff. You know, I'm going to be the biggest drug dealer in New York City. That's what he said that he wanted to be. Now, while we could say the character took a bold move in this episode, I'm going to go back to a couple episodes before that when he told Cristobal about, yes, it doesn't really matter. People, you know, people will definitely underestimate you, and that is when you got to make a move. And the thing about it is that for him to develop trust with this guy who he doesn't really know all that much about, I feel like that's going to come back and get him in the end, because that guy Cristobal has a deeper relationship with the Total Locos and with everybody else. So I feel like because he has a deeper relationship, once they let Dre do what he does, establish the connections, they could easily cut him out of the picture. Now, obviously, they need him now because of what's going on or what the team up that we're going to talk about in a little while. But I just feel like Dre, you know, I felt like he had a deeper bond with James in particular. And for him to turn his back on him now, that is going to be a mistake that he will regret in the end, because it was really a smart decision. But yeah, this whole season, he made a lot of bold moves. I think the move with Julio was the boldest move. Now, I'm not saying that the move he did in this episode wasn't impactful. It was, but the move with Julio, I think that definitely lets you know, okay, this character is out for himself, and he will do whatever he has to do to get ahead. So with that decision, it's ridiculous, but it's also very, very foolish the way that they portray the fact that Tommy let this stuff happen. Just, you know, you see that this guy is dead, and you just promote him immediately without asking any questions. I thought that was a little ridiculous because Tommy is supposed to be smarter than that. But again, the way they handled Dre this season, they made him an enemy. I do give them credit for taking that direction, because I think everyone believed that at the end, Kanan would be the enemy and you would have a final showdown. But I do have criticisms about that also, which I'll get into a little bit later. But again, the fact they took this direction, they have a big, big vision for Dre. I appreciate that, but we'll see what happens next season with how they handle the character. But yeah, this character is a new enemy, so I don't know what to say, man. I know Dana has been wanting this to happen, so I'm pretty sure she's happy about this. But
we'll see. Dana, you want to let us know how happy you are?
I'm so happy. Yeah. No, honestly, I am happy. You guys already know how much I love Dre. You guys already know how much I was like screaming this is going to happen from day one. So for this to actually happen and come to the fruition, this is the only reason why I haven't completely written off this show and why I'll still watch, is because of Dre. And I've said this. I said, if you look at the very beginning, the first episode, Dre was the one just being quiet. He was observing. He wasn't saying nothing. They let him do things, you know, because he was that quiet one. He was always loyal. He was faithful. And I said, you never trust the ones that's always faithful. And then, you know, I'm so happy for this. I look forward to this. I hope he ends up just running everything. So, yes, this to me is his breakout moment. I think season 5 is going to be all about Dre and screw everyone else. And this is the only reason to continue to watch. So I'm so happy. And you know, it even if it causes the Super Friends to team up again, I'm cool with that.
Okay, so Yeah, there's more to be said about Dre, right? But we have to address, the Super Friends, the Avengers, the Fast and Furious crew. We have to address what happened with this team up. So throughout the episode, we see Kanan. Well, first we see Kanan pull up on Tommy, and he's asking him why he tried to send goons to kill him or whatever, and then Tommy lets him know, Kanan, you're not the enemy. You helped save Tariq and everything. These guys have a tattoo that means they're with Cristobal, and Kanan's like, who's Cristobal, and yada yada yada, right? And then later on we see Kanan. He hits Tommy with information about Ray Ray and everything, and then at the end, towards the end, after Ray Ray's dead, and Tommy and Jamie begin to shift their focus to Dre because now they have new information regarding Dre and what he's been doing. All of a sudden, we see Jamie get a call, and it was assumed at the time it was Kanan. The call actually goes through to Tommy, and Tommy passes it to Jamie. And then at the end of the episode, we see them in a car where Dre's meeting up with all the big power players at the time. The I forget the name of the brother and sister, Jimenez, I think, and all the other big players in the drug game. Right, they're having a meeting, and we see Jamie, Tommy, and Kanan sitting in the car outside, scoping out the spot. And, they're all so comfortable. Jamie's so comfortable with the situation that he's even referring to Kanan as a nickname. Like he calls him K. It's like, it was like a prequel or something, like back in the old days or something like that, like how comfortable they were, which is really weird to see, judging like by what's happened in the past between these characters. So yeah, definitely a bit weird to see happen. And my thing is, I think there needed to be a bit more build up to this, to make it convincing, because I feel like it happened too quickly. I think we needed another scene between, Jamie and Kanan before they could pull this off convincingly, because it just seemed too put together and too rushed for me. But Dana, I know you had a lot to say, about this particular scene at the end. So what's your thoughts?
I hated that thing. It looked like some really bad Avengers. Oh God, I couldn't stand those those three teaming up. Okay. I think, as you was previously saying, I think everything was rushed. Even when they did the whole scene where Kanan's like when he hears Dre's name and he starts figuring out that Dre knew that he was coming back, everything about it just didn't make it made sense, but it was just so terribly played. It was so terribly corny. So, my issue is that I don't know if I hope not, but I think that they're trying to do for next season, they're going to jump into what happened between Ghost and Kanan for them to even have a falling out. I feel like they're going to have one of those scenes where it's going to be those montages of, we were best friends before, hanging out and looking at the girls and, I don't know, going to school and holding hands or whatever it is that they did, and they had some major falling out, and it's going to lead to some form of reminiscing, and they're going to be friends again. I don't understand what's going on with these two at all. I'm very confused. I don't understand the purpose for Kanan even to be in that scene. So you guys already know how much I hate this so much. But, I don't know if they're trying to say it takes 3 people to try to kill Dre, and then they still can't do it. So I'm not looking forward to this at all.
Yeah, what you said is another issue I have, right? Like the 3 of them, teaming up to take out Dre, because we've seen that Dre is easy to run up on. Like Kanan has run up on him multiple times in the past. We see Tariq run up on Dre. Like Tariq of all people is able to run up on Dre with a gun. Like he could have legit killed Dre. But yet, you know, the three of them are teaming up and making this seem like some crazy covert operation or something like that to take out Dre. Like it just seems really, really weird to me. But
it doesn't seem like there's any direction with the show.
yeah, I don't know. Rich, what do you think?
Okay, so I agree with a lot of what has already been said. I think that the fact that you had Kanan appear in the episode before this, as you know, of course, the people tried to kill him and they were unsuccessful. But then, of course, you had him just all of a sudden team up with these guys in the next episode. It didn't really make too much sense. The point you just made, Gary, about the fact that anybody could easily run up on Dre is a very good point. At that particular moment, they just saw he was with the others, so they said, "Oh, well, we're not going to try to do nothing." But still, yeah, it's just a little ridiculous. Here's the situation. When you made the point about them rushing through this season, I think that particular thing. Well, let's go back to the episode where we had Kanan kill Jukebox. That and the whole fact that he made up with James that quick happened all too fast. Now, I know I said last week that they were building up this whole thing with obviously Kanan started to think about Tariq and didn't want to really have him go down that bad path. He had second thoughts about that whole decision, and obviously he saved them in the end, which was important. But again, the beef that he had with Jamie, not really something that can just get squashed that easily. I mean, Kanan was in jail for, I think, about 10 years. So it's very fast to just forgive someone that quick, like, oh, yeah, man, we good now. I think, and I honestly think that with the way that Kanan's character is built, even though that that there's a team up now, I don't think that's going to be guaranteed to stay that way forever. One thing you have to remember, one thing you have to know is that Kanan will do whatever. And I think that the motives of the people involved is something you have to think about. Now, obviously, Jamie doesn't really care about the drug game anymore, but Tommy still does, I think, to some extent, and Kanan does. So even after they are successful taking out Dre, what's to say that they won't go at each other? And I think that is, again, something that they have set up for you to think about next season. Now, all of that is on the negative side. The only one reason why I'm okay with the team up for now is because it ties together the whole story of Tommy and his mob family. Because again, you saw he had that line about, yes, so who wants Italian? So that will bring the whole mob thing into this thing now, which is something you said before, Gary, that the mob was going to get involved with the drug game. So now that will have these characters come into the fold. And I think when you have the mob on your side, well, definitely Dre is a dead man walking. There's no doubt about that. I mean, all of those people are. But I just think that's the only real positive, is that it explains why the mob was introduced, because I know that Dana said before, and a lot of people agree, I think we all agree, that there were too many storylines going on this whole season, so that you had to keep up with. So now that they've tied and connected that mob storyline with this storyline, I'm fine with that. But again, not necessarily a fan of how the team up happened so fast with these three. Tommy and Ghost, they are ride or die boys. They will always have each other's back. But to throw Kanan in there, that's a wild card. And you know that character is not going to stay positive for long. We know that. So
that right there was my biggest issue. Tommy and Jamie are like thick as thieves, and all of a sudden you're having this threesome. Why?
Yes.
Like, even I can understand that, even if you can say that Jamie right now is really not, mentally stable because of everything that's going on, or even back then when they first started doing the team up, he was in his feelings. You at least have Tommy, who's going to be there to be like, something's not right. I don't trust this guy. Why are you doing this? What's really going on? It just doesn't make any sense for all three of them to even be together. And I understand if it's like Kanan and Jamie, fine. you know, but to have Tommy there and Tommy's the crazy one and he's not even questioning anything. I don't get it. And even if you're gonna have some big type of thing where it's gonna be Kanan's the one that's setting these guys up, like whenever they was in the elevator together, I'm not gonna lie, I expected there to be a gunfight. I just expected, you know, him just to snap and start killing everybody, and that didn't happen. And I just feel like, one, it doesn't make any sense, and two, you're kind of cheating the audience because I can't be the only person that's against this, you know, super team. It just does not make any sense. You're supposed to be my lifelong enemy. You know, you went to jail. 10 years is a lot of time to go to jail. You know, I'm sitting in prison. I'm going to think about you. I'm not going to, you know, no one came out and being some type of born-again Christian. I forgive you, my brother, and let's go have a sandwich. So it doesn't seem like to be any explanation for this at all of whatsoever. You kidnapped the dude's son. You know what I mean? To turn him against you. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, let's all be friends. And, you know, let's drive in his car together. When he was in the car. Remember he was in the car? Like, why? Who does that? And no one died. I was like, oh, it's going to go down. Someone's getting shot in the head tonight. Nope. Nothing. So it's stupid to me.
Hey, I agree. And let me just make one real quick point, Gary, before you go on. Everything you said, spot on, Dana, and I'll add one other thing, and that is that if I was to be a writer for next season and how I can change this whole dynamic, as I said, because Kanan is a wild card, think about the fact that Tommy is still riding around in the same car that they bugged already earlier this season. So when it comes to a point when the police actually do catch up with him, well, Kanan could easily throw them under the bus and say, oh, yeah, I'm not involved in any of this. These guys are the ones you want. And that could be how he gets his payback on Ghost for the time he had to do for him last time, where he will take both of them down. So, I mean, just think about that also, because they left that in there for a reason and they didn't really come back to it. I'm guessing they can always come back to it the same way they brought this other lady back from season 1 as a witness all of a sudden in season 4. So I think that definitely, when things get like, so they are a team for now, but when things get too hot and heavy and the police get involved, I'm pretty sure that Kanan will try to distance himself from them and maybe even work with the police to make sure that both of those guys go down. So that would be my guess as to how the writers are going to try to write in this thing that, well, yeah, Kanan does have another motive. Because we already know that Kanan, all he cares about is the money, the connection. So when he kills Dre, that's what he wants. He wants to run the drug game. Tommy still wants to run the drug game also because he has the people that he's working with. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that. But if I was to be a writer and if I was to craft the storyline for season 5, I would definitely have it where Kanan does turn on them eventually, because that is true to the character. There's no way he can just forget about everything that happened, going through jail and all this other stuff, and then still not want to get these guys back in the end. Even though Jamie may not even want to be in the drug game, he could still try to find ways to take this guy down if the police get involved in what they're doing. So we'll see how they do that.
Yeah, I could definitely see Kanan turning again. And I do want to say that I'm not like 100% opposed or against this team up thing happening. I just don't like the delivery of it. Like, I think, you know, it could have been delivered a lot better, and I think it needed more time for there to be a build up of it. But yeah, good points all across the board on that, I think. So before we get on to, you know, what we think is going to happen, you know, moving on from here, I do want to talk about Tasha quickly, because, you know, we got a couple scenes of Tasha with you know, Terry the lawyer and everything. And of course, after Tariq kills Ray, she visits him again, and we know that, you know, Dre killed Ray with her weapon, her firearm and everything. So she goes to see Terry Silver. She says, you know, she seeks his advice about, you know, what would happen hypothetically if, you know, somebody went to confront the murderer and, you know, then they ended up, you know, killing the person and everything like that. And Terry assumes it was Jamie that did it. And she says, no, it was me. And, you know, Terry's like, I can either be your lover or your lawyer. And Tasha hands him a check. So, Dana, where do you see that going moving forward?
I think right now she needs a lawyer more than a lover. Everything seems to be just completely discombobulated right now, and she's in her feelings, and then everything is just a complete mess. So I do see this relationship ending, and by her handing him over the money, I think that this is her maybe finally getting her priorities straight. So I kind of like this happening with her. Um, I think that right now, for some strange reason, she seems to be more in tune, which it would have been appreciative during the entire season. But she seems to be more in tune. Even going back to when she knew that Tariq was lying about everything. Um, she was the only one who knew that he was actually lying, and that it was kind of like this weird mother's intuition. I do feel that maybe right now everything is just a little too late. The damage has already been done, and no matter how much you try to redeem yourself and fix everything, I think that it just might be too late for it. I do see her character. I see her character maybe more of herself further pushing herself away from Ghost. Remember the whole thing when she started like yelling at him? When she was like, she blamed it on Ghost, and she was like, we're supposed to be going clean, and you said you was going clean. But, sorry. I think that it's really hard to see. I think that she does want everything to, be one of those normal, clean families, but I don't think that it's something that can be accomplished right away. So maybe that this is her come to Jesus moment, where she has to start making moves that are best for her family, which she already done, which was reflective by handing him the money. So I do see her probably, becoming a better person because of this.
Okay, so Rich, her handing over the money, and with everything that she said to Terry, it seems like she is willing to take the heat for what Tariq did. So what do you think's going to happen, moving forward with Tasha, Terry, and, with, the murder? Is she going to, is she going to get taken to prison because of Tariq's murder, do you think? Is she going to turn herself in? Like, what do you see happening with that?
Okay, well, let me just start off by saying this. Is it even possible to fall in love with somebody that fast? It's like Terry's like, I just met you a couple episodes ago, but I think you're the one. I was a little confused. I was a little confused with that. I was like, wow, really? I don't know what kind of, I don't know if that's realistic. If there are people that do leave a comment on this episode, let me know if it's possible to fall in love with someone that fast, because I've never seen that before in my life. So to go back to what you're saying, though, I made a comment earlier about that. Yes, I feel like this whole season, both Ghost and Tasha have been horrible parents. When she made that decision to try and take the heat for Tariq, I felt as though that was her owning up to the fact that she's done a horrible job, and that she is willing to take the heat for him. I thought that was good. The character definitely can be redeemed next season. But as for the whole thing about Terry saying, well, I can only be your lawyer or your lover, I feel like he's going to cross that line. And I have to say this, we all are grown folks here. We all know that with this show, Power, it's always sex, violence, and stuff in it. Next season, they're going to have sex in the season, obviously. So I'm pretty sure that, yes, they can work together professionally as a client and lawyer and have some success with that. But I feel like Terry is going to have some struggles. Talking about what I can't sleep with you. I'm pretty sure that rule will be broken next season, because stars always show sex. You have attractive people starring in this show. Obviously, they're going to have that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't buy that whole thing about him saying, I can only be a lawyer. I'm pretty sure that rule will get broken. But as for everything else. Again, I'm glad that Tasha's character is being redeemed because, again, this whole season, even more so, and when things were very serious with the family, the fact that James is in jail and you have your kids to worry about, I didn't feel as though she tried to keep things together to some extent, but I didn't feel as though she did a good job with any of that stuff. And then when she decided to take responsibility for the fact, because again, she thought maybe Tariq was hanging out with Kanan and didn't really do nothing about it, didn't really try and really fix that situation. And then it got to the point where it was at. So I'm glad to see her taking responsibility for that, trying to be a better mother. But again, we'll see what happens with that. And then, of course, that coupled with the fact that now Tariq is someone where you have to question, well, what is he going to do next season? So even though his mom takes a rap for him, how is he going to respond to that? Is her trying to save him going to put him on a positive path, or is he still going to go down a bad path and do the stuff that he does? All of these questions that you have to ask next season make it very interesting. So we'll have to see what happens. But I think she's going to be on a bit of a redemption path now, trying to make things right as far as the family is concerned and the kids, because I don't really know what she's going to. I don't really think she's worried about ghosts at the moment. It's about making sure Tariq doesn't suffer, have to go through anything. So we'll see what happens.
I don't even see her taking the fall for the whole. I mean, I see her wanting to, but I don't even see that playing out because of Angela.
Oh yeah, because you said earlier Angela will try to protect her.
Yeah, so I don't even. To me, that wasn't even like what crossed my mind, because I'm so focused on the fact that Angela is like Captain Save-A-Ho right now. So.
Well.
Okay. Well. Oh, go ahead. You go first.
Just a quick question, though. Is it not possible for John Mock to get himself on another team and then go up against Angela? Because I feel like that whole dynamic now, I feel like that can go in that direction where he could become an enemy towards her because of the fact that she messed up the whole thing. The case he was building against Jamie this season. If that happens, well, then it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, like what I see happening, like I'll go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I can see that, but I don't know, something with Angela. If you really want something done, you can get it done, and it's not like she's above tampering any type of evidence.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
No, I think like I could actually see Tasha going away for at least a few episodes. Like I feel like she will confess to the murder, right? And that will, that will put the case on it will halt that case for a little while Jamie and Tommy and they're doing their dirt and everything, right? And that's going to allow for some scenes of Tariq being reckless because the home's going to be broken with no mother. And Jamie is probably crazy enough to leave the little girl there alone with Tariq and stuff like that. So we're probably going to see a lot of chaos within the house when Tasha's away, right? And while she's away, locked up or whatever, I could see Terry, being, distraught and in tears and everything and wanting to get her out. And I feel like he'll try to secure evidence that suggests that, Tasha did not do it, and he'll bring that to somebody to where it's there's no way that she can stay in jail because now they have evidence that suggests that she didn't do the murder. So I can see a scenario like that possibly happening where Tasha's trying to protect her family and everything, and she doesn't want Tariq to be found out, so she'll take the heat. But I don't think that will happen for too long though. Like, I think that will probably be a really brief thing that might happen. But I could see it as a scenario, though.
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah. But yeah, any more thoughts on Tasha before we move on to my final question for you guys?
Yeah, I just think that, everything right now is Tasha's going to probably react with emotion instead of with her head. So I do see your scenario playing out. But I don't really see her being this, great parent at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows at this point? It's hard to guess. But yeah, so why, I really wanted to ask you guys to end this off is so what is gonna happen in season 5? Like, we have all the facts now. We've discussed everything that happened in this episode and all season. So what's gonna happen next? What do you see happening for season 5 of Power? So go ahead, Rich.
Sorry about that. A bit of an issue on my end. Yeah, so season 5, if I had to make a couple of guesses, these would be my guesses. I think, well, obviously with Tariq, we're going to dive deeper into how he deals with everything that has transpired so far this season. And I believe that the question mark of, is he Ghost Jr. or is he just the same Tariq that we all know? I believe that will be answered relatively early on in the season. I do see Kanan eventually turning on Ghost and Tommy, and I find that because of the way that they have portrayed Tariq, that Tariq may be the one that actually ends up teaming up with them later on, or helping out in some capacity, because it gets to a situation of desperate need. They need his assistance, or they need someone else, and maybe he helps me. I don't know. I think that Teresi, obviously up until this point, he's been very cool with Tommy being his son. He would probably let him do what he wants to do. But I do feel at some point Teresi's going to want something in return. They had this whole thing this season where Ghost kept asking him, well, are you sure it's okay that you trust this guy? He said, yeah, I trust him. He's my father. I feel as though something's going to come of that, because you don't introduce a conversation like that without it being revisited later on. So we'll see what happens with that also. I'm very curious to see what happens with Proctor, because he wasn't in this episode. We know that he still has that evidence. We know he's been talking to Angela on some occasions about some stuff. But I'm very curious to see what happens with that character, because I feel sooner or later that evidence is going to get found because he didn't get rid of it. And a few other things. I do think that Angela is going to get back with Ghost. Now, before you ask why, listen, these characters are tied together for life. I feel like everything that has happened up until this point, it's going to happen. You saw how they were a little flirty in that last scene at the award ceremony, which made me think already, oh, Ghost is already trying to get back with this chick. So that's probably going to happen at some point, because and how it happens, I can't really explain how it happens. I don't know how it's going to happen, because the writers may do different things to make it happen, but I feel as though it probably is going to happen. But that is a couple of my guesses. And as for Dre, I feel like Dre is, I'll put it this way. Dre is eventually going to get his. He is going to get taken out eventually, but I feel that he is going to take out one of those three before he gets taken out. And I would not be surprised if he takes out 50 Cent. I know 50 Cent has another show that he's doing now with Fox. I don't know to what extent he's involved with that show. But I do know that.
Wait, Fox or BET?
Oh yeah, BET. Yeah, sorry. Hey, Fox, don't come after me. BET, don't come after me either. One or the other. I believe it's BET. But I know he has other projects he's working on, so I don't know to what extent he will be involved with season 5. But I do know that Courtney Kemp has said that she wants to make some really big moves next season. She keeps emphasizing that no character is safe, even though I feel that's BS to a certain extent, because you're not going to kill Ghost unless it's the last episode of the show, period, in my opinion. But I think that somebody is going to get killed, a much bigger character. I just don't know who it is. It could be 50 Cent. It could be Tommy, even though I feel like Tommy's story is really just beginning now that he has the mob family. But I do think one way or another, somebody significant is going to get killed next season, because you have to emphasize that this is a changing of the guard. And to emphasize also the power that Dre has, somebody has to get killed, because that will let you know, he took baby steps this season with who he killed. But if he kills someone like Kanan, that's a major statement right there, because of the character and the fact that he is now aligned with Ghost and Tommy. So those are a couple of my guesses. But of course, I'm not an expert. I'm not writing the show, so I could be wrong. But either way, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next season.
Cool. That was definitely an interesting assessment there. Like I like your predictions. So Dana, what's your predictions for season 5 of Power?
Can y'all please stop killing off Dre? Thank you. Dre will live.
Stop killing off Angela. Thank you.
I kill off people who matter, and Angela doesn't matter. So I see this. Dre is not going to die. Yay. He is going to continue to be great and wonderful and continue to try to take over, the game in the business. Kanan, I do see dying because let's just face it. I don't understand his purpose in the show. I don't understand his purpose, just period. I don't understand the purpose of the Super Friends. I want Tommy to snap and just kill him. So that would be really grateful and wonderful thing to see, because he needs to go. I see Dre struggling with himself, struggling with his family. I see him wanting to be the great son to his broken family, but at the same point, the family is going to be extremely broken. They was broken to begin with, but they're going to be even broken now. So I do see him trying to venture out and be a man for himself. I see him taking care of himself. I do see him having more respect for his father and for his mother, but at the end of the day, he will feel like he is alone in this situation. So he's going to do a lot of soul searching and probably do stupid things, but maybe try to redeem himself later on. Who knows? But I think that this could, be more showing of Dre and his story, not Dre, of Tariq and his storyline. Dre will continue to live and will, continue being amazing and avoid being killed. I see Tasha trying to be, the mother that she never was, and it failing miserably because it's just too late. Yes, she does have a strong connection to her dead daughter because she went on that monologue about how she carried the child in her stomach and, that feeling, that connection. But my thing is that if you never cared for her when she was alive, why care now that she's dead? Tommy, I do see wanting to be more of, his fault, wanting to know more about his father. And I do see this season being more about their background and their story and how everything is going to work together with them. Along with Angela, as I said, she's going to be one of those touched by the angel. I want to do right in this world and take care of Ghost and protect him. And maybe she might end up sacrificing her career and everything else for Ghost and to make sure that Tasha is protected. I do see that there's going to be an even more fallout behind this because at the end of the day, meanwhile, while Rayna is dead, people are still being very bloodthirsty and they still want to know, what's going on with the business and how they can take over. So I see there being more of a drug war going on. So that is something to look forward to. I think it might still be convoluted, but hopefully the writers will get their act together, which I seriously still doubt. I do see it being a very fun and exciting season. Just hopefully they kill off a couple people, and that would be great and wonderful. So, yeah. That's what I see. And also one big thing is I wonder how this is going to play out in the press. Because remember, Ghost didn't really want anything being a big, press opportunity and a big spectacle. But it kind of is. So I wonder how this is going to work out in the media situation. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how that's portrayed. Because it's kind of tragic. You have Ghost who was accused of, he just went through prison, and how did the press portray that? And then now you have the loss of your daughter behind that. So it'll be very interesting. Maybe, in the press, they'll be more positive towards him, which will probably end up making the case more frustrating. So that should be interesting overall.
Yeah. Yeah, great predictions from both you guys. As for me, like I feel like there's a lot of questions that have gone unanswered, at the end of season 4. We saw Tommy a few episodes ago. He went to Chicago and met with the Serbs, and that went nowhere because like now, Dre is in charge of, the drug game in New York and everything. So I kind of feel like, that they wouldn't just add that Chicago trip in there for it to be a waste. So I feel like we are going to see those characters again at some point. So I think um we might find out to what capacity we're going to see the Serbs be a part of this storyline again, because I don't think they would have had that happen if it didn't matter. And then, there's also the question of Lorenz Tate's character, right? And last episode we had that scene where he introduced Ghost to, his man from the street or whatever. So I think we're gonna see Tate fleshed out a lot more. And I feel like, he might end up being a great advantage to Jamie and Tommy, but I also feel like he's going to want a lot in return. So it's probably going to be some sort of proposition, between those guys and everything. And of course, we've also got Simon Stern in the background too. So he's probably going to be a part of this somehow as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the dynamics there. So yeah, of course, Dre is going to be the big antagonist now. And my question is like, how long is Dre really gonna survive? Like, how long is he gonna be able to last against the forces of Jamie, Tommy, and Kanan? Like, I don't. What was that?
Forever.
No. I mean, it's not. It doesn't seem realistic. Like, at some point, they're gonna catch up to him.
Realistic.
I know that, but it's like, how long can, like, they're in the same damn city. Like, at some point, these characters are going to be face to face with each other. There's only so long they can prolong it. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, let me just say a few things really quickly. I completely forgot about the characters you mentioned. Those were great predictions. But to take from what you said about Tate, let's also remember that Tate was there when both Ghost and Dre were talking about doing that development project. So I actually think that Tate is going to be working with Dre, and that will be how, Dre remains, still has power in terms of what he's doing on that scene, in addition to the drug game. But to answer your question, to answer your question in particular about how long can he last? Well, that's a good question. I think he'll be around for most of next season, until the very end. Like Dana said, he can outlive the rest of them. But this show is named Power, and about who has the power. And we already know, as I said before, while he made all these moves to get to where he's at, if I was him, I wouldn't necessarily trust everybody that you're working with now, because you told these people what your plan was all along. You trolled Cristobal. Yes, they underestimated me and they got what they deserved. So what's to say that they won't turn on him also in the end? You never know that. As long as he's making them money, obviously everything is cool. But at some point, they may want to cut him out of the picture. This is what happens with this stuff. So, but I think he'll be around for a while. But as I mentioned earlier, before he is taken out, I definitely think if Power wants to make a statement about, well, this is a character you don't want to mess with, he has to kill one of those three. Not Ghost, obviously. Don't kill Ghost. No, oh no.
Yes, no. This is about power. This is about drug deals. This is about, this is not about, selling cookies on the corner. Yeah. Take him out. What gives him the right to live? What?
See, this is what I will say about that. Ghost is the one that got him into that club scene. So I feel like it's a situation where, okay, the mentor now goes against the student. So the end game, I would think, would be Ghost against him, unless, of course, they decide to take it in another direction. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to say what I said in the past. If you take Ghost off this show, I guarantee you that viewership will go down, because a lot of women watch this show to see this guy and to see a lot of the other people on the show. But a lot of women like this guy, this actor in particular. So I don't think they're going to take him off just like that, unless, of course, Courtney Kemp decides to surprise everybody. And I would be surprised if she did that.
No,
But
50 Cent himself has advocated for people to stop watching Power. He has advocated for people to cancel their Star subscription.
oh, he has.
He was
Okay.
trolling.
No, troll my behind. No. He's
Go
advocated
check
for-
out. Go check out his Instagram today. Like, you'll see what's going on. Like, he was trolling when he said that.
He makes jokes. He makes a lot of jokes.
He's terrible. His jokes are about as good as his acting.
Yo, don't disrespect the God, man.
Yeah, so
Don't disrespect the Godfather.
you know, we'll see what happens. But like I said, he's definitely going to take out a major character, because think about another thing, to go back to what you have already said, Gary, how you said how they introduce certain things in the season and then they don't revisit it. Well, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to say, look at the fact that Ghost had a chance to kill Kanan and was unsuccessful in killing Kanan. So if Dre kills Kanan, what does that say about Dre? That says that he got more firepower than Ghost, and he is a significant threat. So I think, but I think if you really want to emphasize, though, Dre is somebody you don't want to mess with. He needs to kill one of those three. It is no doubt about that, because then that will show you, okay, this guy is serious. Now, if they decided to have him kill off two people, oh boy, that would be very interesting. But we'll see.
I do agree. Dre needs to catch some bodies to make him seem, more of a threat. So I do agree. And of course, if you take those three, Tommy, Jamie, and Kanan seems to be the most disposable of them, especially because, he was a bad guy before. So, he definitely seems like it could be the one to go. But Dre also has, a relationship with Tariq. He's built a bond with Tariq, and Tariq actually defended Dre in this season. So I do see Dre playing that card, of having that bond with Tariq. Like, that's something he can use to manipulate Jamie.
Why not kill?
Why not kill Tariq?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
No one cares
yeah,
about Kane. Tommy's crazy in his own. You guys are insistent that Ghost can't die. So if Kanan is disposable, I don't care if he's dead. Tommy, yes, that would completely change the dynamic and make Jamie go more crazy and kill Dre. But that's less impactful if, say, Dre was to kill Tariq. Tariq has to go.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility.
And it would make up for that terribly poorly shot, horribly executed death of Rayna. And everyone wants to die anyway. Boom. Everyone's happy. Kill Tariq.
So just to throw on something real quick to what you say, you said the horribly shot death of Rayna. You guys said that there was no emotion. The only emotion came from the guy singing the song, the horrible song that we heard when she got shot. So
that was such a bad scene. Oh
Yeah,
man.
and I think there's also one other important death that, could happen from Dre. So Dre has a lot of connections now, right? I don't think it's out of his realm to be able to pull a prison hit. And we know who's in prison right now, right? That's Tommy's father, Teresi. So,
yeah. Oh, that would. Oh, well. Hey, listen, man, that would be devastating if he did that. And since you did mention Dre, one other thing that was said in this episode, Kanan still knows where his daughter's at. So if I was Dre, I would make sure, hey, you better get your kid out of the city, because people can very easily know. Oh, Kanan know where she's at. That right there is another issue too. So it's gonna get more personal and more violent. That's what it sounds like.
But here's what I'm kind of wondering about Teresi. Remember that they teased, I think, last episode or the episode before that there was some type of family secret that Teresi was beholden to. So I think that I don't really want him necessarily dead. I feel that if they do kill Tommy, that Teresi would be somewhat responsible for getting a hit out on Dre and it being successful. And then we go into that dynamic of why he was beholden to that secret.
That secret is
interesting.
We have to see about that, because that secret's interesting. I don't know what the secret is. I thought Tommy was the secret, so that's we'll see. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought like the secret was about what the mum revealed, basically. But yeah, I mean, I don't see either Jamie or Tommy dying next season at all. So I think it's definitely got to be some of these other side characters. I mean, people might even get their wish, and maybe Angela goes at the end of season 5. I mean, I don't want to see it happen.
It's too late for Angela. Like, you actually will get the same satisfaction as Angela died right now than you would previously when she truly deserved it.
I would never get satisfaction from that ever.
Oh gosh. Well, I won't.
So Gary
she left.
Oh! I think she got cut off. No, Gary. So, but a quick question. So, how would you feel if they gave her an Omar death, where some random character that you don't know just comes in and shoots Angela while she's out at the store or something? Would you be angry about that?
Very angry. I'd be just as angry as Dana is right now. So. For sure. But yeah, okay, you're back. How you doing, Dana?
Yep, sorry, my phone my whole internet was like boop.
No,
yes,
that was Stars. They heard her complaining about the show. They said, hey, cut her connection right now.
Sorry, 50 Cent. Still in the club. Yeah, I'm gonna get my on in the club. So yeah, no, as I was saying, was that Angela, I don't care right now. I don't want her dead. Just like if you can do Tariq, I'm satisfied. But with Angela, it's just like not a no. And I think in some weird type of trolling way that they would never kill Angela just solely because the fans want her dead so much.
I think that's Tariq. I think that's what they're doing with Tariq, to be honest. But
I think that they want Angela dead more than Tariq. They want Tariq to have his.
I don't think so.
They want Angela dead. Remember, the actress herself is getting like these death threats.
Yeah, I want to slap some of these people who are sending those death threats. But
so,
yeah,
that's because of that and pure aggravation that she's going through. They'll keep her alive. So I'm cool with just Tariq dying. Like Tommy can, like Kanan has to go. Tommy can semi go, and Ghost can fully go, and Tariq he can go as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. So just so I can end off with my predictions. I do think the case of damn, what was his name again? Greg's best friend, Bailey. There you go. The dude Bailey. I think John is part of the team, John Mock. So I think he's gonna bring that up again. So I think we're gonna see that come back, and also Sax. I think he's gonna continue pursuing the witness. So you're gonna have a case on Tommy and a case against Jamie pending. And with Andrew at the top of the food chain there, at the federal office and everything, a lot of decisions are going to be put on her shoulders with how to go about things, because she obviously still cares somewhat for Jamie, and now she kind of has a bond with Tasha as well. So her loyalties are going to be put to the test, I think, next season a lot. So that's going to be interesting to see play out as well, I think. And I can't remember what else. I forgot what else I was going to say regarding my predictions, but yeah. So any final thoughts based on everything we've said so far? Dana, you seemed like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm gonna just say be better, do better, write better, and you'll have a better season. Actors, put in that emotion. Even if it's like 3 episodes we get next season, put in that emotion.
Okay. Yeah, I do want to point out, I said this off air before, but yeah, 50 Cent today, he said he kind of has like a new deal with Stars, and he's been given a lot of money and stuff, and he started being real positive about Power again, because for the past few weeks he's been promoting his BET show nonstop, and he hardly mentioned Power, but now he's got like a picture of him and like the head honcho at Stars and everything, and he said they negotiated some sort of new deal and everything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see where that leads to, and what that means for Power specifically as well. He did mention his other shows that he's going to be having on Stars as well. But yeah, I'm still excited, even though I feel like this season probably wasn't as strong as the last season. I'm still excited for the show. I do want to say as well that I feel the ending of last season was much more powerful than this one. Obviously that was a huge cliffhanger with Jamie, getting arrested by Angela and everything. I don't think they could top that, at all. But I still feel like this one could have been handled a lot better, to where it could have been somewhat a big deal. But I just feel like they didn't have the time, or they didn't plan it well enough. They didn't execute it well enough. But I'm still excited for season 5 regardless. Richard, you got any final words?
Yeah, I would say that I definitely agree with what you said about the season 3 finale being stronger. I think the season was okay. It definitely had some moments that were great. Other stuff, maybe not so much. One thing I would say is that with season 5, now that 50 Cent has worked out this new deal, now that the writers have more episodes to work with, I hope they take their time and do not rush any of the storytelling, because you don't want to try to have this excuse again for next season. Now you have time to craft this thing and make it what you want to make it. So work with what you have and do the best that you can. That's all. Is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not, because there's no such thing as a perfect show, although some would argue that fact. But yeah, just looking forward to seeing what they do with season 5. And yeah, still a fan, still will be watching. So looking forward to talking more about season 5 when it debuts in 2018.
Yeah, and of course we will be here to cover it. Whether we get media access or not, we're definitely going to be here covering season 5 whenever that goes down. Oh, one thing as well, 50 did say that he's going to try and get the show back earlier too. So I don't know what that means. And I do want to point out that I think he said that before, and we still had to wait, basically the same amount of time. So who knows? Who knows what that means? But yeah, we will be here, covering the show for sure next year. And we look forward to seeing the same faces in the comments again. We love chopping up with you guys and discussing the show in detail. We really appreciate the comments you guys leave us, and we're looking forward to what you're going to say on this particular episode as well, and what you think about season 5 and everything like that. So do leave your comments. We're really looking forward to them. And if you get the chance, check out some of the other shows we have on the site if you are interested. We're not forcing you, of course. But yeah, it's been great, man. I've really enjoyed covering Power this year, with you guys. And I like that Dana's joined us again now as well. So shouts to both of you, Richard and Dana.
Thank you.
What was that, Dana?
I like that too. I like that I joined you guys too.
Yeah, always good to have you. But yeah, that's it for us for this year. So we'll be here next year. But thanks for listening, everyone, and we appreciate all the comments, all the all the love and attention that you guys have given us this season. And good luck to the team at Stars, and thank you for delivering this amazing show. But that's it for now. Peace out.
Peace out.